bit of Tchaikovsky. Righty-ho, this is the quickest. Now, it is often said we live in a blame culture. But the problem is, without ever specifically blaming anybody, who's really to blame? And a year ago I went to, well, it was actually just over a year ago, I went to be based on a little farm, 30 acres, part volunteer, and told that there's paid work for some of it. Now, this somebody, don't worry, this is actually quite interesting, although I won't quite get to it, but it needs an essay, except I have already done all my essays. Okay, yes, now, this person, well, two people really, even though due to alcohol they lived separately. This person ticks every box of the modern, last 30 years evolved person. Every word that came out of this farmer's mouth, now farmers were pretty good in the past, was all about community and decent arrangements, etc. Now, well, I'm in the clear. I mean, I can't be done for libel or anything else, because when I arrived at this place, it was just the biggest tip. All sorts of stuff chucked everywhere. Now, they all parrot environmentalism. They all parrot everything. And, I mean, I blame myself, because she told me she'd been living 8 years in Brighton, which was the problem many years ago. Decades ago was where all the junkies went. The fancy pants junkies. Yep, and she'd also spent 8 years living in Glastonbury and actually got paid to perform at that dreadful festival. Anyway, now, if you actually care about the environment, do you do things like, this is just a non-usual pit stop. Did I identify myself there? No, I never come here normally. Right, so it doesn't matter. I'm just passing through. Yes, having been told over some period of time that this arrangement is so badly needed by her, or them, I should say, okay, right. If you actually care about the environment, righty-ho, I can no longer charge my batteries reliably, and there is one product, the DLYSLUL. I don't get paid for anything. I would never even tell Lysol that. It's like, wow, you can rely on this product. So I'll get a new one using the address there. You can only really get them online. And that is why I haven't said that. It needs a whole proper book on it. The absolute, these people, their websites, and they objectify and use the female form, by the way. Most woofing WWOOF websites will have loads of pictures of semi-naked women smilingly working in community on the land. And they had years ago tried to monetize that, getting grants, tourism. I mean, fucking yachts. It's just tourism. It's just another form of tourism. Anyway, it's a free world. But those people, above all, are entirely incapable of keeping to an arrangement. I mean, in that case, that instance, and I had my recorder on, because I knew these people, the woman was dangerous, despite every word coming out of her mouth that she's motherfucking Teresa, doing work and then not getting paid for it. Well, I've even got flexibility with that. If I like the person, if I feel the person is going to be good conversation, or you can talk to people about, I do bits and bobs of work on the land, and I felt years ago, I want to put on my notice, okay, but I only want to work for people who voted to remain, or to remain enlightened, to remain connected to Enlightenment values. Anyway, to the point, because that's not why I turned this on. Some mornings, quite a few of them, I feel, and I've lived only 4 years in this tin can, but I feel I wouldn't have my life any other way. Not 1 second of my life. And a morning like this morning, the sun's shining and I've got it organised in the back, and a brilliant 8 hours sleep. I feel like I embody that. Neither masculine or feminine. I'm just, all human beings are pretty much the same. And I know. But, now here's the big but. So it started with your Alain de Botton kind of people 30, 35 years ago. Many of their books I read, and then over the years sort of kept an ear on. I went to the top psychology degree university in Britain as an adult student. I don't really know why. Well, deep down in the back of my mind, psychology is interesting. But here's the point. And I went there 32 years ago, 30 years ago, University of West of England, and it was renowned as the top psychology course in Britain. There was 10 applicants, no 8 applicants for every seat. Now I didn't have A-levels, I bummed out of school age 16, but I'd written some essays, and I was the only person applying who wasn't a social worker, probation officer, copper, all of those kinds of gravy-train government jobs. So they had CVs full of those careers, plus HNDs, BTECs, all those kind of stuff. I had nothing, and they took me on the basis of my bit of writing. Nobody told me to do. I just fucking attack. Anyway, part-time. I couldn't afford to go full-time. I had to do a little bit of work as an adult student, no grant. Anyway, to the point. Now I left after 6 months, possibly a bit longer, because, and I'm sorry to say, it was all female. The professors would get up onto the lecterns and preach with their eyes gleaming as if the Messiah literally had just come down and tickled their fanny. That the future of thought therapy or thought intervention or assisting the mind was biochemical was the word. I'll never forget. And even I knew, well, I had read quite a bit, but I'd thought for myself, even I knew by that point 30 years ago, sorry, you're wrong. You are totally wrong. So I knew when I was coming across fanatical zealotry, and I gave it a few more months and realised there's no point. This is all wrong. And good for me, the last 7 or 8 years, psychology, psychiatry, all these kinds of things, if you actually follow the really intelligent ones who are decent enough to say, we may actually be wrong about a lot of our models, a lot of our perceptions of the mind and when things go wrong. They started to say, yeah, so chemicals are just sticking plasters, and a lot of them do a lot of harm, and I've seen that happen. Anyway, to the point, because I haven't got to the point yet. The one thing above all, imagine the most hurt and damaged person in the world who, well, okay, one of the, in this, everybody claims blame, damage, and all of these things. Imagine the most, or one of the top, the top 1% hurt, damaged people, who is your only love, genuine, and that's been going on for many years. I know there's only one thing in psychology that really is the key, the most important thing. and via landloping, a bit of vanloping, a bit of this, that and the other over a few years, I kind of, this crystallized, precipitated in my head. If you really love somebody, I mean, there was that awful Sting song, and Sting is even worse than U2 when it comes to setting up fake charities and fake this and fake that. But anyway, if you love somebody, set them free. But what the hell does that fucking mean? Okay? It's as simple as this. We seem to have a society, it's not just like blame, it's like damage has become the currency. Oh, I'm damaged because of this, that and the other. It's like that is the new religion over the last 10 years. 15-ish, but 10. Which is all kind of built on top of this Gabor Maté, Alain de Botton kind of like gradually, oh, I'm a lovely, lovely person who of course has done yoga, meditation and Buddhism. Now, listen to the very good, actually, documentary about Aleister Crowley last night on Radio 4. And I'm going to actually have to fill this in with bits and bobs of writing. I mean, I kind of, blame. When in 2009, a man who lived at 1,200 feet by my then friend Sally's place, right up in the hills of Wales, incomer of course, in one of the very few actually decent places left in Wales that hadn't been taken over by the dreadful fucking invaders with their spiritual voodoo, making money out of curating your mind and body and fake healers. Sorry, almost they all are. Yeah, Lanid Lois. So yeah, Sally was telling me, God, a guy just up the road, and I used to go up to Sally's for sanctuary. It was a wonderful place. She didn't inherit it. Well, she might have inherited a bit of money up in the hills, and she did her own vegetable gardening right at high elevation. Tough woman. And then she was telling me one day how a guy, not just 300-400 yards down the road, had committed suicide live on Facebook, chanting the words of Aleister Crowley. Now, anybody that follows and all spiritualism, there is possibly an element of something, but anybody that says they understand it is that they're using you. But yeah, so she said this guy had committed suicide chanting Aleister Crowley, and I like, God, it's arrived even here now. Anyway, do you actually care about people? So, yeah. The hardest thing I've ever said in my whole life is true, which is, I would not, this is 3, 4, 5 or 6 years ago, I need you to know, even though both of us have been so damaged, so fucked up the fucking arse by 3 other people really, ruined for life, no life, don't even know who each other are. I need you to know one thing, that I would not have 1 second of my life any different. Every bad act, nevertheless, has led to me daily, often daily, being, I would rather it hadn't gone this way, and I care for you more than anything, but still, I'm not damaged. There are people to blame, but they haven't damaged. Even though there has been years of crushing damage at a functional, no, not functional, that's the wrong word, at a kind of, your soul is smashed, pissed upon. Now here's the point. Every single person, I've actually mentioned this to quite a few people the last 5 or 10 years, almost all women, almost all who would have books like the Eckhart Tolles and all of these kinds of new, which is not new age, it's worse than new age, it's kind of this knowing class. And not one of them would allow that concept to be shared with them. Like, oh, there must be something wrong with you if you aren't truly so damaged such that you wouldn't want every second to have happened. And to actually share that with a young adult who's the only other person in this equation, that's not good. That's not like, well, I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty certain that being able to say such things, even if they achieve not what you hoped for, to set them free or to enable them to see that, well, the past doesn't matter. Trauma, whatever, okay? That is the best therapy, the best assistance to anybody. Now, I know we live in a culture where it's just lacking in philosophy. It's lacking, it has not modernized in any way in several hundred years in reality. Living in a culture where nobody can understand that anymore. That if you really love somebody, tell them that despite the love truly being smashed to pieces by others, definitely others, you would still not wish 1 second different, because it's led you to today feeling often so great, which is only because of every second, every damn evil, whatever dysfunctional, wonky, lost, stuck, poisonous, mad second from the past. Nobody seems to be able to understand that anymore. Oh well, there we go. But that is the most interesting thing to attempt to, yes, and the madness of the woman a year ago was very, it's absolutely provable, led me to, mind you, really, I mean, the problem with Britain is that it's a country of telltales. So if I said, they should be the #1 sponsor. See, is it illegal not to have put a change of address down on your insurance? Who knows? Well, whatever. Ignorance is no defence under the law. But you plan, just when things come up, yes, that would be a good mutual benefit situation, and actually she sought me. And then it's all lies, it's all people pleasing, it's all true. There is mental illness that is just over the line into behaviour, which is BPD behaviour. And I encounter it continually and have done for 10 years. So it's nothing new. But I really resent it that I have to buy, I ration them. I try and listen to a radio on the phone. But every bit of jibbing, every lie, every bit of people pleasing has consequences, ripples. And I know that that's why the environment is fucked up. And that's why the main reason, because efficiency in respect of carbon, etc., is about people working properly together. Over time, mutual benefit, quid pro quo, actual community sharing, not just sharing stuff, but I will spend my time on that thing which you can't do, or should be able to but can't do. You keep to a pledge that I will have a benefit from you, as clearly stated. But no, then they explode. And anyway,